Sex and Sensuality, the podcast, where we speak what your dirty mind thinks. We are here every Monday night at 9 p.m. chatting about tantalizing topics that most won't dare say aloud. Hello and welcome to Sex and Sensuality, the podcast where we speak what your dirty mind thinks. I am Miss Mika, and I am your host, and I have my lovely co-host with me today. I have Miss Gigi. Hey, girl.
Hello, how are y'all today?
Hey, we're doing good. How are you?
I am wonderful. Wonderful. It's a beautiful day out here. Hot, but beautiful.
Yes. And hey, Miss Tavi.
Hello, beautiful. How are y'all? Well, I guess you just said that. You don't have to Habit.
Well, good to hear your voice, Miss Thing.
Same here.
Yes.
So today, everyone, we have a great topic. So I'm naming this topic A Father's Obligation or Courtesy, because we already know what's been going on social media. You know what, y'all? It's always something that takes control of social media and has on lock, right? Particular issue is a woman posted where this guy brought his son some McDonald's. The lady has three other kids?
3 other kids, yeah, she has 4 total.
3 other kids in the house, and he didn't bring any for the other kids, so she goes off on him. She even throws the McDonald's, if you ain't bringing McDonald's for everybody, nobody gets McDonald's. And so long story short, it caused this debate. And a lot of people are saying that he's wrong and that he should have bought McDonald's for everyone. And then some people say, the minority says that he is not wrong and it wasn't his obligation to bring the other kids McDonald's. And then he should just have taken his child away from the house, spent some time with the child, and then bought him McDonald's away from the house, because it could cause resentment for the other kids and all this other kind of stuff. And it's just not right. And so before I go into my opinion, I will allow you ladies to say your opinion so I can hear your thoughts.
Well,
because that's basically the first.
Yeah, I've been following this on social media because I can see it from different perspectives. I can see it from the perspective this is my child. I'm responsible for taking care of my child. So I'm doing for my child. But I also can see it there's other kids involved. And I watched a rebuttal video that she came out with afterwards, after she was getting a lot of backlash. And she said that this man was acting in a stepfather role to all of her kids while they were dating. So the child they have together is the youngest. She said, but he's been buying everyone McDonald's, picking them up from school, saying he loves them, doing whatever to take care of them. So when they ended their relationship, he just said, well, bump the other kids, I'm only going to take care of this one, which I think that's wrong. I feel like at the end of the kids are the ones who suffer. Just because you have a beef with mom or have that pettiness between you, the kids are the one that have to deal with that. And it's not the kid's fault that your relationship dissolved. So I feel like if you have it, it's $10, $10 extra, buy the kids a Happy Meal. It's not that real. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's interesting because for some reason, I don't even know why he would think it would be okay, regardless of what you just said, Tavi. I think, and courtesy, first of all, you're supposed to be teaching children about family and sharing, and for an adult to come into a household where there are multiple children, whether they are yours or not. So let's remove that. Let's remove the fact that this one of these children he helped make. If you are an adult coming in a house with food and there are children there, why would you not bring it for all of them? For that part alone, he was wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong. And he can look at it anyway. Well, that's my child. Those other children aren't mine. But it doesn't even matter. If you're walking into a household full of children and you have food with you, you're going to sit up there in the house eating in front of kids and not be like, you know what I mean, let me bring this food to the children, or you're going to keep your ass outside the house and eat the food and then go inside. You wouldn't do that to children, period. That's my take on it.
I think that at the end of the day, I feel like my father's obligation is not to the other kids. And that's just how I feel. I feel like moms make it their case. Well, I have other kids in this house just like she did. So you should buy for the other kids. And I don't feel like it's his obligation. Now, is it a courtesy? Yeah, it's a courtesy. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be courteous and get the other kids food. But it's not his obligation. And then for her to throw the McDonald's back and like, well, nobody's getting this McDonald's. It could easily be, and I was talking to this about with somebody else, right? She said that she felt like if the dad of one of her children did something for that particular child, she made sure to make it where the other kids did not see a difference, right? So she stepped up him, I guess, to give them some of the things that the other dad was providing for one child household. And I feel like sometimes you just have to do that because you chose these deadbeats as fathers who aren't taking care of those other kids. And then you have one father who's trying his best, who's trying to do something for his child, whether that's McDonald's, whether that's giving him an extra $20 a day or whatever. Then you get mad at him for giving this child $20, but not giving the other kids $20. That's not fair.
Yeah. I think the intent of it matters. Like, what is your intent? Is your intent to get back at the mom so you're not buying other kids McDonald's? Or is it, I really just don't have it. I can take care of my kid. To me, like the intent, like if it's like, well, I don't like your mom, so I ain't going to buy y'all McDonald's. I feel like that's petty.
Yeah. Now, if he was doing it, and it, when I watched the video, it didn't seem like he was doing it in that way, right? It seemed like he just was like, here, give my child some McDonald's. Because sometimes, first off, I feel like dads don't be knowing what the hell to do a lot of the time. So they just sit up here and make some shit up. Oh, I'm at McDonald's. Let me go take the baby some McDonald's real quick. And that's how I'm looking at it, right? He probably wasn't even thinking, but I think it could have been handled so differently because she could have been like, hey, I don't want these kids to see that he has McDonald's. So can you take the baby? You and the baby go ride off to the park somewhere. Y'all can eat y'all McDonald's together. Like, it's always a solution.
I agree.
That has nothing to do with the kids didn't even have to see that.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have to see that. So all you had to do was say, yes, you got a baby some McDonald's. So go ahead and take him with you so y'all can eat y'all McDonald's and spend some quality time together.
Yeah. I think that would have been a better way to handle it versus throwing a McDonald's because I'm not sure if the kids are around to see that, but children mirror what their parents doing. And so if you're acting a fool, throwing McDonald's down the street and yelling, like what message is that sending to your child? Like they are going to mirror what you're doing. And I think definitely a better way to deal with that, especially in that moment, would have been like, take the kid, y'all can eat the McDonald's, y'all can go sit at a park, have a picnic, and I'll stay with the other three. And then we'll just do it like that.
Maybe I'll go and buy my other 3 kids some McDonald's. Like,
yeah.
And then, so I've read another story. This was a few years ago, which was another big ruckus. So the story is this lady, I think she had like 4 or 5 kids, and she had one by another guy. And this guy decided to give her the money for their child to get school clothes, school supplies for the upcoming school year. I think he gave her like, let's say $500, right? Well, she used the money for not that money that he gave her for. It became an issue because he's like, I gave you the money so that you can buy him school clothes, school shoes, and school supplies, but you're using it for the other kids. And she's like, well, I should be able to use it for the other kids because they don't have, their fathers aren't to do this. So I have to provide for them too.
See, and I think that's wrong though. Like,
no, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. Yeah, because I mean, that was for his child, and no, you, and that's what women, you have to be careful with who you are deciding to have children with.
Most definitely.
And if you're if it's a shifty character, I mean, I wouldn't be, laying up with them, because I mean, it's not fair. Like, for him, like, he's doing right by his kid, gave him $500. That should be good for school clothes for the year. But now that she has to share it with 4 other kids, so you have 5 kids splitting this $500, your kid is not getting, probably getting everything that he or she needs, because you have to take care of all 5 kids. I definitely don't agree in that situation.
I don't either. Like, I don't understand what made her think that it's okay to do that. The money came from that child's father for that child. And this is what makes some fathers not trust women when they put money in their hands, right? And they'll say, I don't want to give her cash. Now, the thing is, with when you're thinking about monies that go from hand of a father to a mother when it comes to child support, is the courts look at it as, okay, well, the child lives in a household, so you got to take care of them with the roof over their head, the food in their stomach, all of those things. But if this is money that's if he gave that specific allotment of money for school supplies, not over and above what he normally pays her for child support, then that's what that's supposed to be used for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not because you felt like, oh, my other children need to get close to. No. Unfortunately, like you said, Tavi, you need to be checking your other baby daddies and get them to do the same. That doesn't mean that this man is supposed to take care of their children. That's not his job. His job was to give that extra money to you for his child's clothes, and that's what you were supposed to spend it for, period. Mm-hmm. I'm an advocate for that. I believe in that. And again, I have children that are by 2 different men. And I never did those types of games, ever.
Yeah. And I think too, where the issue lies for me with a lot of this is that we feel like because the man has a child by one person, that he should, it's other kids in the household, it's other kids in the household that are suffering or that may not have this or may not have that. So you should help or you should do this. And it's like, well, if you're not dating this woman, if you're not building a family with this woman, if this is an ex or just an ex-lover, you're not obligated to do anything for those other kids. Like, just period. They're not obligated. I don't care if it is some McDonald's or if it's a penny or if it's $1, whatever. You're not obligated to do anything. Is it nice for you to do something? Yes.
Yes.
It's nice. It's 3 other kids in this house, so you could have bought them all from damn McDonald's. It ain't that serious. But they making it like, well, you should do this. You're supposed to. No, you shouldn't. But then that goes into order of, just like you were saying, Gigi, like, well, then if he can give this child $500, then he should be able to get the other kids some money too. Like, no, they should. No, it doesn't. It can't work in one situation, but not work in other situation. That's just how I feel about this whole thing. And then come to find out, they said that she has a man living with her.
What? No, hell no.
Yes, the McDonald's lady.
Wait, pause. Wait, I didn't know that. Pause. Rewind. Yes. She has a man live. Okay, see, now I'm changing the whole thing. Then no. I did not know she had a man. Like, what? Oh, no.
That was the whole thing today that I learned. That was like, yeah, and she has this man living with her in the household. So I'm like, okay, then why he's not helping buy them kids some McDonald's?
Because she's not requiring him to do it. That's why, obviously. Yeah. Just like she wasn't requiring each of the ones before the one that she had the baby that brought the McDonald's either. Obviously, her requirements are only for those that are not with her.
Dang.
If you're doing something for one, you need to do it for all. No, that is not how life goes.
Yeah.
That's not how life goes. I think about myself. If something, God forbid, happens with me and Chase and we break up or something, and honestly, I would not expect, it would take me a while to a place where the person I'm dating or I'm with, where I would feel like you should help me with my children. It would take me a while to even get them because these aren't your kids.
Right.
These not your kids.
That's all right.
It will even take me a while just to even feel comfortable with you doing something for my child or my children. And at that point, so it would take a while. And then if we ever had some kids together, maybe we break up, it is Chase. I wouldn't expect Chase to come in the child that I had with my ex.
Right. I definitely think it's to expect it to be an obligation because we co-parent, like Jessica and I co-parent a little boy and we co-parent with his mom. And it's never been the expectation that this is an obligation, this is required of you guys to do. We do it because we love him. So, we do whatever we have. And we even had where his little sister, once she was old enough and potty trained, because that was our rule. Like, I was like, she needs to be potty trained before she can come to our house, where when he came to our house, she came too. But that was just doing it out of goodness of our heart. Like, we never felt obligated. It wasn't, we only got this one, so we ain't going to do nothing for the other. Like, no, like, she was asking to come. We said, okay, cool. We have both kids. And people thought we were crazy. Like, you're too nice. Y'all, I would be doing that. And I was like, at the end of the day, if it's for him, like, we love him. And we want to pour it to him. So why wouldn't we help his mom? But that's just who we are. We're very giving and open, but it's not an obligation. And that's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the difference.
Yes,
and I think that people are trying to make it like he was obligated to buy those other kids McDonald's. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. But of your heart, that's totally different.
Right. I didn't know she had a man living in the house with her. That's
yes. She says she got a man living in the house with her, child.
Girl, she needs some therapy.
And then she talked about he was buying McDonald's before. And I'm like, I get that he was buying them things before, but when you're dating someone, you do those types of things because you're dating and you're building a family.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, and unfortunately, it's sad that kids become casualties of these breakup wars, but they do. They do.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and that's why you're supposed to be careful bringing a bunch of people around your children.
Yes.
And that's every single time you get with somebody else does not mean you need to invite them into your home and be around your children. That's not what that means.
It does not. I say
crazy.
And this is my rule for people. My rule is my suggestion. Let me say this. This is my suggestion for women is to do not introduce these children to whoever, to the new person, until you are 1000% y'all getting married. That's how I feel. That y'all are getting married or y'all are moving in with each other, because some people don't get married. They don't believe in marriage. But until y'all are ready to make a committed next step. Whether that committed next step is we're moving in together. And if y'all going to move in together, then y'all introduce each other before, of course, months before you move in together. Give yourself some time. But without a doubt that this is going to be your person. And I know breakups may happen after the fact, but I'm saying not somebody you just been knowing for 3 months, 4 months.
Let me tell you something.
6 months.
My closest friends, the one I told you is like my sister. When I first met her, her daughter was like 9. When I tell you she's dated, she's maybe a handful of people have met her like in passing, especially when she was little, in passing, like out with a bunch of people. Not, this is my man, but never up in the house. Never. You hear me? Her daughter is now grown, moved out on her own, and she still never had any man move into her home because that is what was important to her. Not having her child witness all these men in and out of her house.
Yeah.
Never did.
I believe in that. I believe in that. I would probably be the same way. Chase and I have had that conversation. Like, would we do something like that? And I know for me, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want somebody around my daughter and then it's the possibility we not together. I would, but she wouldn't be able to see who I'm dating. She wouldn't see what's going on. She wouldn't be privy to any of that until, like you said, she's out of the house. When you're grown at the house doing your own thing, then I can get a little bit more friskier. It's
well, to me, it's so much about the connections. Children bond with people quickly, right? So every time as an adult, I don't think really mothers get this. When you're angry at this person, y'all done broke up, you strive with that anger. So that's how you're able to move on sometimes, right? But what about the child? They're not
Right.
angry. They don't understand. So you know that all of that is pain for them. This person
Right.
being brought into their life, that meant helping them with homework, making sure they eat, doing whatever ever, and then now they're gone. And you just want them to be like, okay, move on. It's not fair to them. So again, if adults would get over their damn selves and put children's needs and wants in front of their own, they would do things differently. But for some reason, we just too damn selfish to see anything past our own wants and needs.
As you two know, I work in pediatric mental health. So I work with kids a lot. And I had a little boy who he was having some behavior issues in school, acting out, talking bad, just a lot of things that was very abnormal for him. And I think with kids, I'm like, there's always a why. They don't just randomly start doing stuff. There's always a why as to why they're doing that. And after talking to him some more, like asking questions, he opened up to me. He was like, well, I really wish I had a dad. And I was like, okay, tell me more about it. And he was like, well, I used to have a dad, but that dad doesn't love me anymore. It only loves my brother. It was a situation where mom was dating someone. They broke up. The dad only started doing stuff with his child. And the older child was like, I don't have a dad. I used to have one. He don't love me. He only loves him. So it's extremely damaging. You have to be really careful when you're interacting with people with kids, and even for the other person. Because I've dated someone with kids once before, and she was like, oh yeah, I want you to meet the kids, blah, blah, blah. And we were only like maybe like a month in, and I said no. And it caused an argument, an issue between us. And then I was like, I love kids and I cherish them. And I was like, I don't want to get attached, nor do I want them to get attached to me until we know this is for real, for real. You know, I ended up meeting the kids eventually, but it was probably like maybe like 5 or 6 months into the relationship. I met them, but it's like I said no. And then I was like, no, I'm not doing that because I know the causes it can count, you know, when kids get attached. And you have to be really careful. And I also think that people, I feel like, especially in America, because I don't see this when I travel to other countries, that America is all about possession. Like, that's my kid. That's my family. That's my whatever. Versus looking at it like, this is our community. And the children, like, these children are going to be our leaders for tomorrow. They're going to be our people running the world. And you want them to be loved and encouraged and not feel bad about themselves, feel like people don't love them. You want to pour as much positivity into the community. So if you have... like, give it to them. Get over your whatever you had beef, what you have with the mom. Like, it's okay to be nice. And, you know, at the end of the day, the kids are the one that suffer. And I care more about the child than whatever adult BS you got going on.
That's true. And what that brings us to is like, what should be a given, right? Like, what should actually happen when a man has a kid with a woman that has other children? And I feel like what you were just saying, Tavi, about obviously in a relationship with the mom, and looked like he was building a relationship with the other kid. And I guess when him and the mom broke up, he's like, well, I'm just going to take care of my kid at this point. I think that changes everything completely, right? Because if you're in a deep relationship, and it probably was a long-term relationship, obviously if the kid remembered it like that, it's like, made yourself a father figure. So when you leave this home, you still should be a father figure to this child, because you made yourself that. You chose to be deep in with this kid, loving on this kid, helping him and doing things for this kid, that just because you and the mom have broken up, I don't think those things should stop.
Agreed. 100%.
I agree too. Unfortunately, that's not the reality, you know.
Of what happens.
That's why I was getting ready to say, like, I agree with Tavi, like, be careful of the bonds you form with children. But see, I don't know, maybe they were married, and that's different. Because if you're married to someone, you are going to, you become a family. So you cannot take that back because you and the mom have divorced. Yeah. And now this is just this was just a stepkid that was there.
Yeah, that's what happened. Is that they were married and then they divorced, and then the dad stopped doing for the other one altogether.
And that's sad. Now that is sad.
Yeah,
it is.
Now dating, girlfriend, boyfriend type of stuff that may have been, for a little while, that's different. But when it's you've been married to somebody, you've helped raise this kid. That's your kid now, man. At this
Let me tell you something.
It is. It's awful. I mean, it sucks to hear, and I feel for them. And my heart was just like, oh, when he said that, like it just like stabbed my heart a little bit. But I mean, you just have to be real careful out there.
My youngest son, that happened with my ex. She was around all that time with him since he was little, 3 years old until 11. And then when we broke up, she just walked away and did everything with him. And it was so bad that by that time he started going into depression. We had to take him to therapy. And at the therapist, that's when we ended up finding out it was because of that. He felt like she didn't love him anymore.
Yeah, he was grieving too.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. And people, they just, well, on the other hand, Jaji, when her ex and her broke up, she had a nephew that she was very close to. And I encouraged her, please stay in his life. We could do things with him. He can come over and be with us and be with the kids. But that ex did everything to keep him away from us.
Wow.
See? So it even comes on the other side. And then he ended up suffering for that. Oh, why Jaji don't want? It wasn't us. We did everything. Every single thing we could do to go to the mother, to the house and see. And it was like, why are you coming to my mother's house? I don't want her here. Don't bring him to. It was just so much drama to the point where, like, I understand why some people eventually just back up because you're like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, all we're trying to do is love on this kid, right? We just want to love on him. Why are you coming at us because you and her aren't together anymore? This isn't about the two of you. This is about him and his relationship with Jaji, not you and your relationship with Jaji, or mine and my relationship with Jaji. But it didn't matter to her. She did everything to cause nothing but drama till we eventually had to back up. And it hurt Jaji so badly. But what else did we have to do? I mean, got to the point we had to go to courts and all this. So at that point, you're like, okay, you got to throw your hands up. You just have to.
Now, that's sad when the mom makes it hard.
Right.
Yep. Primary caregiver makes it hard to keep those relationships. And it's sad too because you have these fathers or mothers, partners trying to step up and be a part of their child's life or the ex's child's life or whatever. And then you make it difficult for them to do that, but then get mad when the men don't step up.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like in a world where very patriarchal society, right? Like I do feel like we live in that type of world. However, women have been hurt so much by men that they make it difficult sometimes for men to win.
Right.
When it comes to these types of situations. And it's like they want men to do it, but then when the men try to do it, they make it difficult. They're doing all these things and they're requiring all this, and then it has to be this way. And it's like, damn it, just let the man do the fucking job.
Right.
Even if it is half-assed, y'all can talk about it and figure it out. But let them do it. Let them do something.
Right.
And
I think it's important, like, because me and Jessica have had this conversation too. We don't have children of our own yet, like we're trying now, but to come up with contingency plans, like if this were to happen, how would we proceed? Or if you're dating someone with kids, like say, okay, I'm meeting your child, but if we were to break up, how would we proceed? The kid's attached to me, I'm attached to him. I would like to have a relationship. Have those conversations before the event happens. So if God forbid something happens, not that you're planning on breaking up, but it's just good to have those conversations. Like, we don't have kids, but I've talked about it. I'm like, if we were to ever split and we have a child, how will we do things? What will work? I'm like, with you dating someone and bringing someone around my child, like, I will want to meet the person before you bring them around a child. Like, we've talked about those things, like hypothetical situations.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure we're all prepared to see where all of our head is, or even like with, our little one with Jackson, like if we were like Jessica and I did break up for a few months and Like that was a concern. I was like, well, we're broken up, whatever, but I still care for this child. I still love him. I still want to be in his life. And she was like, I wouldn't have it any other way. So, during those months we were broken up, I was still there. I was still went around. We still did family stuff and it was no issue. But I definitely think it's important to have those conversations ahead of time before it gets to that point and it gets petty and nasty.
Now that sounds good, but what happens when that's great? Because your intention is to be there regardless. And that's it. What happens when that other person starts dating someone that's not in favor of it?
That's where the issue lies too. Is they will put their new person over.
But that's right.
Chase and I have already discussed that too as well. Like, you cannot be with me if you can't accept Chase and the baby.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're still a family. We may not be living together as a couple, but we're going to always be a family.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not change with who I bring into my life. You're going to have to either get your ass on board or you can't be in my life. And we have discussed that hardcore with each other. And one of the first things we both have agreed on and said about it is that we're going to always be family. And whoever we're dating, they're going to have to be on board. And if they can't accept both, you can't accept one.
Right. They're not part of this family unit. Because at the end of the day, I think there's nothing wrong with more people loving a child. It's more love. It's nothing.
Oh my gosh. It is so much more love. I love that you said that, because that's oh my gosh, we're going to have to do a show on this one day where the mom mad if the new person buys or does something for their child.
I experienced that.
I mean, that's something, but what about when they want to start calling them mom?
So we're going to have a whole show on that, guys. That's going to be our next show. Because that is such a good topic, and I'm with Tavi. It's nothing wrong with having more love. I'm the type of person, okay, if you want to buy my baby some shoes, buy my baby some shoes, girl. I don't mind. Help me out, hell,
Right. It's a win-win for the child. It's for the child. It's not about me.
And the biggest thing that comes is maturity. Like in my co-parenting situation, it's good now. It didn't start that way when Jessica and I first started dating. He was 2 years old, and there was some pushback where she was like, well, I don't know if you can spend time with him, or I don't know about this other girl. How is she with kids? And Jessica was like, she's a pediatric nurse. Like, she's great with them. Like, it was not easy in the beginning. And it was some it took about, I would say, a year or two. And then now I feel like we're good and we all can spend time together. She said his mom has stayed at our house. Like, we've had all the kids here. Like, now we got to that point. But the biggest thing I think that happened was we all grew up. Everybody grew up and we said, this is what's in the best interest of him. We are a community. It takes a village and we're going to love on them. But it's maturity. It's a lot of maturity.
That's right.
That village is so important.
It is. That's how it used to be back in the day. And I think had we had stayed in that realm, I think our children will be in a better place. People now, no one wants to get involved. And so now the children they out doing their own thing and disrespectful to adults. And, it's just totally different. There was a time when I was growing up, I was scared, not just of my own parents, but my friends' parents. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you always tried to be in line because they could turn around and slap you upside the head too. So
it goes to that sense of community. And it used to be more like the neighborhood band together and kind of
raise the children
and raise the children. And like where my mom lives, she's lived in the same home for forever, for my whole entire life. And I'm in my 30s. But it has like a lot of people live in that neighborhood. They've been there for that amount of time. And it has that same mentality. If you were acting up 2 streets over, your parent was going to find out about it.
That's right.
It wasn't going to be like, well, that ain't my kid. And that's why I say it gets to like America's all about possession and mine and mine. I'm like, no, these are the world's kids. These are the universe's kids. And
this is supposed to be our future generation, our future. Right.
Yeah, this is our future. So we need to all have a hand in helping our future succeed as much as we can. So real quick, the last thing I want us to talk about, what if the situation was reversed? Okay. And the mom has a child with an ex. The ex is now a single father or mother to another kid. Why they have a kid together, but now this father or mother is a single child to another kid. Should she have obligation to take care of that child? the other kid.
So you're saying that they're not together anymore?
They're not together anymore, but she does have a child with that person. And now that single father or mother
To another child.
another kid to their own kid.
I mean, I feel like the same principles apply. Like, it's,
Mhm.
did you have a relationship with this child? Because I feel like to have a relationship with a child,
No. They're now a single father and mother. They done had their own kid. She has been involved with this kid. They are now a single father or mother to their own child. After the fact,
are they still together?
yeah, this is the ex.
Oh, this is the ex.
But they are very involved with their child. The ex is still involved with their child together. But the ex is now a single father or mother.
I mean, I think it depends on the relationship that they have with the child, like the other adult has with the child. If it's a situation, it also depends on your ability too, because some people like, I only have what I have for my child. That's all I have, and that's all I can give. And it's like, okay, cool. I mean, I think it depends on the relationship that the ex had with the other child, as well as her ability to be able to help or do whatever or to support. So, I mean, I feel like it's multifactual, different factors.
Well, I have a scenario. Gigi, what is your take before I give the scenario?
I think that just like Tavi said, for us as women, we're more emotional and tend to use our mother genes or automatically to help be there and support and love on a child more so than men. I don't want to take that away from them, but that's just mostly how we are built. So I think that, she would still be supportive, still be there and loving and doing for him regardless.
No, I'm not saying that she would. Should she have an obligation to?
I don't think she could have an
making
obligation.
it about the man. Like they're making it about this guy. Like he should have done this.
It's not an obligation. It should never be an obligation.
Right. I think on both sides,
should never
whether it's a
be
man
an
or a
obligation.
woman.
It should never be an obligation. I still feel the same. It shouldn't be an obligation. I just believe that you should want to.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be an obligation, no.
Yes, I agree with that.
Scenario that happened. And this was on, if y'all ever get a chance, please join Reddit and read Am I the Asshole? Because it's such a good forum. So on there, this lady posted, her ex left her. He got with another woman. They had a baby together. This woman he had a baby with left him with the baby. Now he's raising the baby.
Okay.
As a single father.
Mm-hmm.
They have a child together too.
Mm-hmm.
Him and her. So she is paying to take her child to Disney World.
Oh man.
He's really close to his brother, or I think his brother or his sister or something. He's really close to do some things together. She will do some things with the child just because she feels like that's his sibling, like kind of like what you said, Tavi. He tells her she should take that baby to Disney World too. And she's
not
like,
obligated.
No, I'm not taking him to Disney World. Like, not. I'm taking my child. This is the money I have for my child. I'm not spending money on your child to go to Disney World.
And Disney's expensive.
It is expensive. Well, and he got really upset at her about it. Some of her friends was like, well, you should just take the child. And she's like, no, this is our family vacation.
I have another reason behind saying no. No.
Yeah, I would say no.
My
especially
other
if the dad's not going to. If it's just going to be the mom.
No.
If it was the dad.
Oh, the dad wants to go too.
Then why they all can't go?
No.
She doesn't want to go with the ex and the other child. She wants this to be her vacation. Child, they're not together.
Right. That's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe if she's supposed to be taking her child and then his child without him, like if he wanted to tag along, but I'm not going to be responsible. Okay, because were they married? Did she adopt this child?
And no. They weren't even together when they had this child. He had this baby after they broke up.
Okay, no, because anything happened to that child, no, I'm not taking it. Whether I love him, I'm not doing that. No,
he had the child after they broke up, and the person he with left him. So he's a single father.
No.
Right. So that's his child. No, I'm not.
She just have allowed, she still allowed them to kind of hang out together. Like if she pick up the child, sometimes she'll let the child come, kind of like what you say you do, Tabby.
No.
But he did invite himself. First, he said he wanted to be him, the baby. So she was like, no, I don't want to take this child with me. And then he's like, well, I could go too. We could all go together. And she's like, no, this is my trip.
With my child.
And I don't care that you're the father. Child, I don't want y'all coming on my trip. And I feel like she has that right.
She does.
She has that right.
She does. And that's different than a McDonald's burger or something, because number one, Disney's very expensive.
Yes.
It is extremely expensive. You could easily go for a weekend and have to drop 10 grand for a family. So it's different than like a few dollar cheeseburger. But if you want to have that bonding experience, like I'm taking my child to Disney, we are having our family trip. I don't want the dad to be included. So dad and sibling, if you want to take little brother to Disney, then you can set that up and you can take him.
Yeah, I can meet you out there, but you ain't coming with me on my damn trip.
Yeah.
Again, for me, it's all about the safety of the child. Legally, I'm not doing that. I'm not being legally responsible for anybody's child that's not mine. Right? Exactly. Because if anything happens, whether he gets lost, this, that, and other. What if he gets sick? What if he gets sick? Yeah. And I got to take him, he has to go to the hospital. I don't even have any legal rights to tell them to help him. Right? Yeah. So now I'm putting him at risk. I'm putting the hospital at risk. So, people don't think about all those things. They just think, I want to do what I want to do. You go ahead and take him. No, just like if you have a child in your car that doesn't belong to you. If anything happens to that child, you are responsible.
You are responsible.
So no. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
That's some craziness. It's so a lot of people saying that, she wasn't the asshole. That's what the question is, right? Are you the asshole? Am I the asshole? So a lot of people were saying no, but her friends were like, well, you should just take the kid then. You don't have to have the father. You should take the kid. And I'm like, what are y'all thinking about? She did not have to take that kid to Disney.
No. This is a lie.
Feel like someone has obligations for somebody else's child just because. Just because you got a child with that person does not make you responsible for their other children too.
Right. Nope. I agree. And especially with the age, because it seemed like this child was younger. So, even like when we have Jackson, like we made sure like your sister can come when she potty trained and she's 4. That was our rule. But I'm not sure how old this little kid is, but it's like if your child is like 7 or 8 and then you have this 3-year-old, that changes your experience at Disney. It's a completely different experience just by having one extra child. Like, no.
No, right. I don't even care how old he was. You weren't coming.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would have, I already feel some kind of way about just doing stuff by myself. Like, I'll probably take me a while before I feel comfortable just doing something with Dakota and just her friend without their parents. Because, like you say, you're responsible for that child.
Yes. And we never want to think about something happening, but when it does, what are you going to do? Right. We never sit in that. We always think, we're going to be fine, but you do not know. You have no clue what can happen. You could be in a grocery store and something. You could be anywhere. Well, I remember one of Jazzy's godmother had her, and they all went somewhere, and Jazzy got lost for a few minutes. All she kept thinking was, "Oh my God, what am I going to tell Gigi?" Right? What are you going to tell me that my child is gone? So no one wants to take on that responsibility. It sounds cute. Oh, I got your child. No, I'm sorry. If you're not going, they can't go. We can meet you there. Even look, with my granddaughter, she wanted a party. She wanted everybody to meet at Sky Zone. I was no problem paying for everything. Oh, can you come get them? Sorry, we'll not be able to do that. I don't want no children riding in my car. After the experience I had with adults riding in my car and the whole accident thing happened and it kicked off, I'll be damned if I'm having somebody else's child. No, you can meet us there though. I'm sorry. I will not ride anybody in my vehicle, especially nobody's children. Not doing it.
Yeah. I think sometimes you got to be cautious. And I think at the end of the day, I just think that when we talk about this whole situation as a whole, it's hard having to take responsibility for some other people's kids. Even if you have a child with that person, it's hard enough. So we have to be careful of the obligations we place on ex-lovers, current lovers, when it comes to kids that are not theirs.
That's right.
Because it can end up being a very sticky situation in many ways that we discussed today. So be careful who you choose to be the father of your child. Be careful who you choose
to be the mother of your child.
I was saying that too. And then also be careful of who you choose to allow in your child's life.
Agreed.
For sure. Agreed.
All righty, y'all.
We got to do another episode, like a blended family episode.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to definitely do an episode. What did I say I wanted to do an episode on?
Well, I had mentioned about a mother calling another the new parent mommy.
Oh yeah,
because people are into that, honey. They don't like that.
So yeah, blending families and what that entails, and
blended families, what that entails. So when your ex now dates someone new and your child is a part of that person's life, like how does that look? Yes, that's our next episode. That's our part 2. Somebody please type that in the message so I can make sure I remember.
I'm gonna do it right now.
I really appreciate you, ladies. I appreciate your thoughts. I love that we can always have these conversations and have even differences of opinion and still respect each other's opinions. So that is awesome. And make sure you all are joining us every Monday night at 9 p.m. on Sex and Sensuality, the podcast where we speak what your dirty mind thinks. You can find us on all major platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen to your streaming podcast. I hope you all have a good night. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another